was simply just going to post, Freedom Ride's back on. But I've had probably a dozen, maybe even 24 people that really wanted to know the details, understand what happened. So I thought this would be the best medium to push it out there so everybody gets a better understanding. So for those of you that just want to know if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it's a thumbs up. For those of you who want to know a little bit of the backstory, hang around for the next couple of minutes, next 5 minutes, and I'll explain to you the whole story and how this unfolded. So I wanted to give you an update to the updates that was passed on just yesterday with my first vlog on this Awaken Your Adventure Freedom Ride 2017 Mexico edition. So as many are well aware now, all the plans were in place for me to pull out of here tomorrow morning and hit the road when a couple days ago I had a bit of a life event and found out I had kidney stones. So that pretty much set me back because we were unsure whether the kidney stone had actually passed. So the advice I got from the doctor was to stay in town, stay close to a hospital, and there's a lot of possible ramifications to passing the stone somewhere like Mexico when I'm out in the desert, totally alone, without medical support. So that's where we were a couple days ago. So I had a bit of a decision trying to figure out whether to listen to that medical advice or just to push on and make it all happen anyways. So the last couple days I've been tossing and turning and trying to figure it all out, and I decided once again, and a bit of a life lesson here, that take things into your own hands. Start, be informed, be educated, and then start asking the right questions. Because when I left that hospital, I wasn't informed, and I didn't ask the right questions so that I could frame my situation and come up with an honest decision on what to do. So what I've done is I've called the hospital. I had them forward my documents to a friend of mine who just happens to be a doctor, and actually a very, very talented doctor. He was on his way to becoming a Canadian astronaut. He's quite the man, but somebody I trust. So I wanted to seek his advice. But before I went to talk to him, I wanted to have my own information. So I did a little bit of Dr. Google and learned a little bit more about passing kidney stones, the different sizes, and what happens in the system and how all that works. But before I get there, you have to understand the timeline. And this is what really makes the difference, is what educated me to make my decision today to say, yes, Mexico is a go, and I'm on the road, and still be a little bit unclear whether I've truly passed the kidney stone. So again, it's all about timelines. So let's back up to about 72 hours. And at that time, I had my kidney stone episode. So I woke up in the morning and the pain doubled me over, hands and knees, screaming out loud, for 3-4 hours. I got myself to the hospital, with some aid of some friends. I'm in the waiting room. I can do my triage. It's about 3, almost 4 hours by the time they started injecting me with medications and sent me off to get a CT scan to see what's up. So I got the CT scan, so this is about 4 hours into my pain episode, and about an hour after that, the pain started to subside. Now I was unclear whether that's because at this point, they've injected me with 3 different types of drugs. They've really worked, they're escalated up their drug levels. Is it that, or is the pain just stopped? And to be quite honest, once they did release me, I was so scared of that pain, I stayed on the drugs for another 12 to 20 some hours. So anyways, they released me from the hospital with no more information than take this medication. It may pass in the future, it may not, it may take a week, may take a month. Here's your referral for a specialist. He may see you in 1 to 2 months. I'm like, whoa, okay, but I was a little bit doped up. I headed home, and it took a little bit of time for that to sink. I started to realize I'm not waiting 2 months to find out everything's fine or everything's not fine. So now fast forward to I went and talked to my doctor friend, and we looked at that timeline. At 3 hours, when I had the CT scan, we had to figure out where the stone was. So a little bit of anatomy here. You've got your kidney and your urethra, which is a line that goes from your kidney down to your bladder, and then your urethra, which goes out to your bladder, depends upon your male or female parts on the goes. Well, from your kidney, when that stone breaks away and goes down that initial tube, that tube is only 3 millimeters and is not elastic. So as the stone goes down, if it's 1, 2, maybe 3 millimeters, the pain might be small. If it's 4, 5, 6, 7, it's going to be an intense pain because it's grinding its way down that tube, creating tons of irritation that radiates up, and that's what puts you on the ground. So that's what was happening to me for those 3 hours, is it was pushing down that 35 centimeter tube. So when I got the CT scan, now I know that that stone was only 1.5 centimeters away from my bladder. That last hour was it pushing through all the way down and it falling into my bladder. I didn't know that, but now understanding the timeline, talking with my doctor, we are less concerned that that stone pushed back up towards my kidney, because that's just impossible that it would have happened. I'd still be in pain. So the fact that I have no pain and I'm not on the drugs means it's in my bladder, or under a drug-induced state, I ended up peeing it out. So we're confident that either it's gone or it's in my bladder. And if it is in my bladder, your urethra, I get mixed up, urethra, the one from your bladder out your boy parts, is actually pretty elastic. Elasticity is elastic. So it can stretch from 3 to 7 millimeters, somewhere in between. So it may be a painful pee, but it's gonna come out. And there's there's always a chance, but there's almost a 0% likelihood that it would get stuck or cause a blockage that would force me to have to seek medical aid. So that said, I'm on the road. So life lesson here, it's absolutely about educating yourself. You know, I talked to my doctor and he said, I was a little bit embarrassed. I spent so much time on Google trying to figure it all out. And he says this, it's absolutely awesome that that's available for us, because don't take it for 100%, but educate yourself and understand the system, because I could have been waiting here for 2 months. Anyways, I did get a hold of my specialist, or the office. He's not coming in for another 3 weeks. And then he reviews my file, and it may take him 2 months to make an appointment for me. So I could have been sitting here in Ottawa for 2 months, not traveling anywhere, staying close to a hospital, just to find out what I just found out for myself, that it is in my, that I already peed it out, or it's in my bladder, and it's no big deal. So that would have been months. So educate yourself, don't take no for an answer, dig, figure it all out. And thanks to dig and figuring it all out and putting this all together, on the road. It was a 2-day delay, a bit nerve-wracking, but here I am. I'm all packed up and I'm ready to hit the road. So guys, the adventure is beginning, and the adventure has begun. And I want to talk to you guys again soon, so take care, awaken your adventure, and the Freedom Ride is back on track. Take care guys, bye-bye.